Hey, I'm Nina Chantele, and this is Unmuted. So I hope you've been having a great week and a great day. I mean, last week was the very first episode, the inaugural episode, if you will. I told you how I came up with the name Unmuted with Nina Chantele for this entire podcast, right? Well, if you missed that, you can definitely go check it out. I laid it all out and I did the whole back and forth and the doubts about the lists of names that just did not feel right when I was thinking about what I was going to actually name this podcast. Until one day, Unmuted stuck with me, like definitely stuck with me. It felt like me. It sounded like everything I've been holding in for years. And listen, this week has actually been so overwhelming in different ways, but in a great, great way. I launched the podcast. People started following the Instagram page, which, by the way, if you haven't yet, please go follow now and support your girl. It's at Unmuted with Nina Chantele, UNMUTED with NINACHANTELE. And that's where you'll find the updates, the combos, the DMs, just all the tea. And you know what? You know I always got the tea, but seriously, these DMs, oh, thank you guys. Thank you. You've inspired me. You've brought me back to who I am. Some people were sending me DMs like, I'm listening to you now and wow, I'm so glad that you found yourself again. Stay true to who you are, Nina. I'm sending love and light your way always, which I definitely appreciate. And then somebody else said, I love it. It's you. Nothing pretentious, nothing fake, but all real. And I can't wait to hear more. You've inspired me. And that's what means a lot to me. Another one hit that said, Nina, I've been following you since the early radio days and always wondered why we didn't hear more from you. This podcast feels like I'm seeing the you I always knew was in there. And I've been trying to launch something myself, but I keep hesitating. And listening to you gave me a push. Seeing your posts on your new Instagram page at Nina Chantele is giving me lots of inspiration. I thank you for stepping out. I feel like I can too now. And that's the thing. That's why it got me. Because I know what she's talking about. Like that hesitation and that fear, that was me. Things happen in our lives where, we feel like something's happening to us, but sometimes it's just happening for us. And when it's happening and it hits us like a big slam in the face, it feels like, why is this happening to me? Believe me, I've said that over and over. And then I have to remember that God does things for us because maybe we are too comfortable, too complacent where we've been. And sometimes it feels like, I want to change, but it's a lot of work and then you talk about it and you say you want to do it and all the thoughts are there and it sounds beautiful when you're saying it out loud. And maybe the people that you're telling are like, yeah, that sounds great. Oh, you'd be great. Oh, that sounds like it would be amazing. And you can do it. But really, it's not until the moment that you become uncomfortable and God slams the door for you to actually start because the next chapter is coming. And that's where I feel like I am now. Like, let me tell you something. I've been in radio for over 20 years. And the mic, like sitting in that booth, having that red on-air light, that was home. It was familiar. And like I said, it was comfortable. It was safe. And I was damn good at it. And I don't want to be here making it seem like I'm tooting my own damn horn, but I was good at it. Like I started in my hometown of Chicago, when I was super young. And then I made it to, Miami and then kept moving and, it was to Dallas and then back to Chicago. And I was doing mornings on WGCI and I was doing afternoons on 103.5 KISS FM. And I started doing TV, much love to my family on Windy City Live on ABC 7 Chicago. And I was doing all of these three jobs. And now that I'm saying it out loud, I'm sitting here thinking like, everybody used to always be like, dang, Nina, you got all these jobs. Like, how do you do it? Because I would wake up at like 3 a.m. My makeup artist would come over by like 3:40 a.m. I'd get my makeup done at home. I'd get to the radio station by a certain time because I had to be on the microphone and already have like local news, international news, my prep done, and actually talk on that microphone by 5 a.m. So I always, went and woke up in the dark for like years and then kept all the jobs moving. I did all three jobs and like having to go to sleep by a certain time. And if I had an appearance for one station, you just had to handle it and not complain because you asked for this. And as soon as you show them that you can't do it, and guess what? They're going to be like, well, you're lacking over here, so you're just going to have to focus on one. And I wanted to make sure I proved myself. I wanted to prove that I could do all of it. And I did. I proved it to them. I proved it to myself. My ratings were great. And my hometown of Chicago, supported me. And I will always, always feel that in the deep roots of my heart. Whenever I feel like I'm down, I think of that. And I'm like, no, I got support from my own hometown. You know how good that feels? I mean, let's keep it real. Killing it is you can feel that. But when things start happening, you start feeling like, dang, did I lose myself? You can be so good at something and still outgrow it. So I got to a point where I realized I needed more. Not more followers, because honestly, I get annoyed with that. And I did, where people were like, oh my God, I have all of these followers and now I'm an influencer. And then those influencers thought that now they can have this job. And it's like, hey, we had training for this when there was no social media. We did this with hard work and learning. And so I didn't need more followers, not more attention, but more freedom. I was held back, y'all. I was held back on some of the things that I wanted to say. They call me into the office or, you have to play the right route or whatever. But now I have more freedom, more autonomy, more of myself in the work I want to do. And the moment that I admitted that out loud, the fear rushed in. And I know that's the opposite of what I sound like right now. But what if nobody listens? What if I fall flat on my face? What if I leave something secure for something that just doesn't take off? But fear doesn't mean stop. For me, fear builds that extra swift kick in the ass where it's like, hey, this just means this matters. So if you're feeling that kind of fear, not the fear that keeps you safe, but the kind that keeps you small, maybe that's your sign. You should never feel small. This is one life. We only have one life to live. Your little whisper from the universe is saying it's time to bet on you. It's time to bet on yourself. Have you ever been there in any aspect of your life? Right now, when you're thinking about it, when I tell you it's time to bet on you, something is just like a snap of a finger kind of making you think of what that thing is, right? Are you right on the edge of something new? It could be getting out of a relationship, starting a new project, starting a new job, feeling like it's too late to start an extra career, anything where everything in your body is screaming for safety, but your soul is like, we got to move. That's what this podcast is for me, a move. It's a moment. It's a chance to show up from my damn self, even if my voice, is cracking when I get emotional. And if you could tell that I'm getting choked up and I'm tearing up, it's like, no, this is me being real. And even if it's not perfect, even if people judge it or doubted it or didn't get it, you know what I'm saying? I want to ask you, what's your unmuted moment? What's that thing that you've been holding inside? That idea that you've been afraid to start, the version of yourself that you've been shrinking because somebody told you that you're too much or not enough. Let me remind you of something. Nobody gets to define your capacity but you. I mean, literally, if you've been hiding your voice, your talent, your story, your truth, then maybe it's time that you unmuted too. Because I know this. It's scary to start anything, but it's scarier to spend the rest of your life wondering what could have happened if you did. So if you're listening to this today and there's something burning inside of you, some truth, some dream, some story that you've been tucking away because you feel like you couldn't say it out loud, I dare you to say it out loud, to take the first step. Send that email, make that phone call, launch the page, write the script, open the mic, just tell the world what you're about. And then when the fear creeps up, because it will, remember, it only shows up when you're stepping into something bigger than before. Don't wait for that fear to go away because that's like the light that's, like I said, giving you that fire that you need. Do it scared, do it unmuted because silence never told the full story. Do you hear me? It is time for us to be able to speak our minds, to do those things that we want to do. And I've always said this, that I feel like the Lord blessed me with the power of the microphone to spread it for the positivity, to use that microphone for good use, to not be standing here, in front of people on a stage and feel like I look like I'm God's gift or act like I'm God's gift, to stay humble, to speak up about the things that I believe in, to share life lessons, to be able to, tell somebody that wants to do whatever it is that you think that I've done. I can give you that advice because now I've done it. And when I tell you life lessons are the lessons to be learned, and that's with anything, that's why I tell you to step out and do it. And then sometimes you need to close a door on whatever it is that you've been waiting for because you feel like, no, I'm too comfortable, or I love this person too much. I can't walk away. The big things happen when you walk away or when the Lord slams that door shut, because it means that you are ready for the next step, or you don't know that you're ready. You don't, but now you're forced to. What are you going to do? I remember I have this person in my life, this person that's very close to me. I remember them telling me back when, like in radio, you will get fired and rehired, and it'll happen several times. Because for me, I've been hired and fired several times within the same company, but I've always gotten elevated to the next level, to the next bigger city, bigger market in this business is what it's called. Every time that I got let go, it was like the next chance was a bigger chance. So, at that time, I'm like, oh my gosh, life is over. What am I going to do? I'm freaking out because you don't really prepare for the next thing. But now that I'm thinking about this, a life lesson that I will share with you is always prepare for the next thing, because nothing is guaranteed. And don't ever treat somebody else like they're below you, they're beneath you, because God made us all equal. It's just everybody's doing a different thing on this earth. And I love people and I love helping in any which way that I possibly can. But sometimes I feel like I'm that person. A lot of the times, I'm not going to say sometimes, a lot of my life, I've always felt like I'm the rock that has to stay stable to help others, whether it be in my family, whether it be with others, to show that I'm the strong one, because that's always what I've been. I'm the strong one. What am I going to do? I have to continue to survive. And that's how I have that hustle in me since I was little, is because I always had to think of the next thing. I didn't have a lot growing up, but my mother and my father never made us feel like we had nothing. They always made us feel like we did. And I don't regret any of it. It just makes me know that I have to work hard to get to the next thing. But now that I know that the experiences of when things went away back then, it was like, oh my gosh, my life is over. But then it was like, no, look, here we are. The times that you thought you were over. It's like I started so young in Chicago, and I, would get fired for life lessons because I didn't know when to shut the hell up and pick and choose my battles. And then I learned that lesson and I kept moving and I kept doing. But one thing that I stay consistent about is that I never burned bridges, and I never treated anybody like they were beneath me. And I never treated anybody like they were not the best version of themselves. And when they weren't the best version of themselves, guess what? My mouth will tell you to your face that you got me messed up, because I'm not going to deal with what you're telling me right now. I am going to speak up for myself, and I am going to put my foot down. And sometimes that will lead to people being like, well, then goodbye, here's your walking papers. But then the next time it's like in the industry, they'll remember that she sticks up for herself and she's actually a good person and she does have the talent. And now she's probably learned her life lessons. And that's just what I'm saying to you is life lessons. You have to go through them. So don't feel discouraged if you feel like something's happening to you right now. Again, I want to remind you, to do those things, do it scared, do it unmuted. And why? I'll repeat it once again, because silence never told the full story. This is Unmuted with Nina Chantele.